I am Job. I am one of the greatest men of the East. I suppose I still am. You know my story. It is a story of suffering. It is a story of trial. In the book which bears my name, it is poetry. But it was not poetry when it happened. It was real. I was great. Princes sought my help. Kings. I was blessed. I was blessed of Yahweh. And then the troubles came. The messengers. The Sabaeans had come. They killed all of my servants. They took my donkeys. Another messenger came. Fire had fallen, killing all of the sheep and those who watched for them. Another messenger came. Enemies had come. All of the camels. Thousands of sheep, thousands of camels, oxen, donkeys. My people, gone. It was hard to take it in. The gold plates were still on the table. My wife still had her jewelry around her ears, her neck, her fingers. I still wore the gold rings. But all of my possessions, my wealth, was gone. And then another messenger came. My children. My children were gone. There was a wind, and the four corners of the building in which they were having their feast. It collapsed. It killed all who were inside, my 7 sons, my 3 daughters. were gone. I had sacrificed for them. Each on his feast day, when he would have his feast, inviting the others to come, I would sacrifice for them after every feast, so lest they had sinned, their sins would be covered by the sacrifice. You are not supposed to mourn your children. They are supposed to mourn you. But to lose them all at once. Gone. And then, as if that were not enough, the sickness came. My body was covered with boils from the soles of my feet to the top of my head. The pain was excruciating. I took no delight in food. There was no comfort. I was mourning my children. I had shaved my head, I had torn my clothes, I had put ashes upon me. I would take broken pieces of pottery and scrape the sores. My wife said to me, "Curse Yahweh and die." And I said, "Why do you speak as a silly woman, as a foolish woman? Shall we take good from Yahweh and not evil?" And then my friends came. Eliphaz, Bildad, Zophar. They did not recognize me when they came. So changed was I. We sat for a week without speaking. Some of you perhaps should try that from time to time. And then they spoke. You are here because you have sinned. You are here because Yahweh is judging you. You are here because you have done wrong. Yahweh blesses good and he curses evil. But I knew this was not true. I had not done wrong. Why was Yahweh cursing me? Why was I having this pain? Why had all of my possessions been stolen or killed? Why had my children been taken? It is always why for us. And still they spoke. There must be something that you have done wrong. You must have committed some sin. No, I had not. The poor I fed from my table, the widows I fed from my table. I took the part of those who had been wronged in the courts. I defended the weak. All that I had done was right. I was righteous. I had done no wrong. Why was Yahweh punishing me? Why did I have this pain? Why did I have this suffering? Why had I lost everything? I wished that I had never been born. I wished that I had been aborted in the womb. I wished that I had been stillborn. I wished that I had never lived. If I were dead, there would be no more suffering. If I were dead, there would be no more pain. If I were dead, there would be no more trouble. Could I not be dead? I cursed the day that I had been born. And still my friends told me that I must have sinned, I must have done wrong, and I had done no wrong. Why? Why? I told them to look around. The wicked were blessed. The wicked did prosper. The wicked did have wealth. The wicked did not suffer. If the wicked did not suffer, why must I suffer? If Yahweh would only show me what I had done, if He had shown me my wrong, I would have repented of it. I would have confessed it, but I had done no wrong. I had done nothing that was against what I should have done. Everything I did was toward that which was right. I could not curse Yahweh, but I did not know why. Why was I suffering? Why had this evil come upon me? And so it went. They would tell me it was because I had sinned, and I would tell them it was because I had not, and I did not know why. I did not know which was worse. The pain that racked my body, or the pain that racked my soul. If I only knew why. If Yahweh would only show me a reason. If He would come before me and lay out my sin, I would confess it. I would forsake it. I would sacrifice toward it. If only He would answer me. I have cried out to Him, and He has not spoken. Why can He not tell me what I have done wrong. Do you know what it's like to be mocked by those that were so far beneath you, you would not have even employed them to take care of your dogs? The young men laughed at me. The young men who had hidden their face when I would come into their presence. Princes would stop their mouths when I would arrive. Now, I was a joke. Now I was mockery. They laughed at my suffering. They pointed the finger at me. I did not know why. My life had been pure in every aspect. And so it went. Day after day, night after night. You read the book that bears my name and think it was the work of a moment. It was not so. It seemed endless. I could not curse Yahweh. That would be wrong. I could not confess my sin because I had none as far as I knew. I could not confess until Yahweh would show me. In the dark of the night, I would cry out to him. I was angry. I was bewildered. And finally, Elihu spoke. I have his words. I think they were the only ones worth hearing. I was guilty of questioning Yahweh. My sin was my pride. To believe that I had earned his blessing. To believe that he owed it to me to bless me. Elihu was angry. He looked as if he were going to burst. His face was so red. He said, I am younger than you, and so I have not spoken, but I cannot refrain from speaking any longer. That must have been so hard for him. Even though he was younger, he had great wisdom. It was not until he spoke his words that my heart began to see, that I began to understand. He was speaking of Yahweh when he said, He doth favor him and saith, Ransom him from going down to the pit. I have found an atonement. You see, I knew that my Redeemer lived. Fresher is his flesh than a child's. He returneth to the days of his youth. He makes supplication unto Yahweh, and he accepteth him. And he seeth his face with shouting, and he returneth to man his righteousness. He looketh on men and said, I sinned, and uprightness I have perverted, and it hath not been profitable to me. He hath ransomed my soul from going over into the pit, and my life on the light that looketh on. Lo, all these doth God work, twice, thrice with man, to bring back his soul from the pit, to be enlightened with the light of the living. If I would look away, if I seemed as if I were not listening, he would say to me, Attend, O Job, hearken unto me, keep silent, and I do speak. If there are words, answer me. Speak, for I have a desire to justify thee. If there are not, hearken thou unto me. Keep silent, and I will teach thee wisdom. Hear, O wise men, my words, and O knowing ones, give ear to me. For the ear doth try words, and the palate tasteth to eat. Judgment let us choose for ourselves. Let us know among ourselves what is good. For Job hath said, I have been righteous. And Yahweh hath said, Turn aside my right. Against my right, that which I have earned, do I lie. Mortal, deadly is my arrow without transgression. This is what I said. Who is a man like Job? He drinketh scoffing like water. He hath traveled for company with workers of iniquity, so as to go with men of wickedness. For he hath said, It doth not profit a man when he delighteth himself with God. And so this I said. Why had I done good if this judgment had come upon me? Therefore, O men of heart, hearken to me. Far be it from God to do wickedness, and from the mighty to do perverseness. For the work of man he repayeth to him, and according to the path of each he doth cause him to find. Yea, truly, God doth not do wickedly, and the mighty doth not pervert judgment. Who hath inspected for him the earth, and who hath placed all the habitable world? If he doth set on him his heart, his spirit, and his breath unto him he gathereth. The very air we breathe, Yahweh has made for us. He has made us to walk here upon this earth. He has made the earth for us to walk upon. He made the air even for those who curse him with it. He made the earth and blesses it even for those who curse him when they walk upon it. Expire doth all flesh together, and man to dust returneth. And if there is understanding, hear this, give ear to the voice of my words. Yea, doth one hating justice govern? Or the Most High just dost thou condemn? Who hath said to a king, worthless, unto princes, wicked? That hath not accepted the person of princes, nor hath the rich before the poor, for a work of his hands are all of them. The rich and the poor are all the work of the hands of Yahweh. The good and the evil are all here by his sufferance. In a moment they die. And at midnight shake do the people, and they pass away, and they remove the mighty without hand. For his eyes are on the ways of each, and all his steps he doth see. There is no darkness, nor death shade, for the workers of iniquity to be hidden there. For he doth not suffer any man any more to go unto God in judgment. He breaketh the mighty, no searching. He appointeth others in their stead. Therefore he knoweth their works, and he hath overturned by night, and they are bruised. As wicked he hath stricken them in the place of the beholders, because that is against they have turned aside after him. And none of his ways have considered wisely to cause to come in unto him. The cry of the poor, the cry of the afflicted, he heareth, and he giveth rest. And who maketh wrong? Hideth the face, and who beholdeth it? And in reference to a nation or to a man, it is the same. From the reigning of a profane man, from the snares of the people, for unto God hath said any, I have taken away, and I do not corruptly. Besides that which I see, show thou me. If iniquity I have done, I do not add. By thee he doth recompense, that thou hast refused, dost choose, and not I. And what hast thou known? Speak. Let men of heart say to me, and a wise man is hearkening to me. Job, not with knowledge doth he speak, and his words are not with wisdom. My father, Elihu said, my father, let Job be tried. Let him be tested unto the limit. Because of answers for men of iniquity, he doth add to his sin, and transgression among us. He vomiteth and multiplieth his sayings to God. And Elihu continued to speak. This hast thou reckoned for judgment. Thou hast said, my righteousness is more than God's. This is truth. I thought my righteousness would be enough. That he owed it to me to bless me. For thou sayest, what doth it profit thee? What do I profit from my sin? I return these words, and thy friends with thee. Behold attentively the heavens, and see, and behold the clouds, they have been higher than thou. If thou hast sinned, what dost thou against him? And thy transgressions have been multiplied, what dost thou to him? If thou hast been righteous, what dost thou give to him? What am I going to do that will earn me something with Yahweh? Or what from thy hand doth he receive? For a man like thyself is thy wickedness. For a son of man thy righteousness. Because of the multitude of oppressions they caused to cry out. They cry out because of the arm of the mighty. And none said, where is God my maker? He is giving songs in the night. teaching us more than the beasts of the earth, yea, than the fowls of the heavens. He maketh us wiser. There they cry, and he doth not answer, because of the pride of evildoers. Certainly vanity God doth not hear, and the mighty doth not behold it. Yea, though thou sayest thou dost not behold him, judgment is before him, and stay for him. Now because there is not, he hath appointed his anger, and he hath not known in great extremity. And Job with vanity doth open his mouth, without knowledge words he multiplieth. This was true. He had struck me to my heart. With vanity I had spoken to Yahweh. In my self-righteousness I had spoken to him. I lift up my knowledge from afar, and to my Maker I ascribe righteousness. For truly my words, Elihu said, are not false, and complete in knowledge is with me. Lo, Yahweh is mighty, and despiseth not. Mighty in power, mighty in heart. He receives not the wicked, in the judgment of the poor he appointeth. He withdraweth not the righteous from his eyes. From kings on the throne, and causeth them to sit forever, and they are high. For him, the righteous, whether they are poor or whether they are kings, if they are righteous, they will sit on high with him forever. If the prisoners in fetters, they are captured with cords of affliction, then he declareth them to their work and their transgressions, because they have become mighty, and he uncovereth their ears for instruction, and saith that they turn back from iniquity. If they do hear and serve, they complete their days in good, and their years in pleasantness. And if they do not hearken, by the dart they pass away and expire without knowledge. The profane in heart set the face, and they cry not when he hath bound them. Their soul dieth in youth, and their life among the defiled. He draweth out the afflicted in his afflictions, and uncovereth the oppression in their ear. And also he moved thee from a straight place to a broad place. No straightness under it, and sitting beyond of thy table hath been full of fatness. The judgment of the wicked thou hast fulfilled. Judgment and justice are upheld because of fury, lest he move thee with a stroke. An abundance of atonement, turn thee not aside. Doth he value thy riches? He hath gold and all the forces of power. Desire not the night for the going of the peoples in their stead. Take heed and do not turn into iniquity, for on this thou hast fixed rather than on affliction. My eye was fixed upon my own righteousness. Lo, God doth sit on high by his power. Who is like him? A teacher. Who hath appointed unto him his way? Who hath said to him, thou hast done iniquity? Remember that thou magnify his work that men have beheld. All men have looked on it. Man looketh attentively from afar. God is high. He is so far beyond us, so far above us. We are so small. He is so great. Beyond our understanding, beyond our comprehension. We know not the number of his years, yea, there is no searching. When he makes the drought to come, they refine the rain according to its vapor. When the clouds do drop the rain, they distill on man abundantly. Does anyone understand the spreading out of a cloud? Does anyone understand the noises of his tabernacle? Lo, he spreadeth over it his light, and the roots of the sea he hath covered. For by them he doth judge people. He giveth food in abundance. By 2 palms he hath covered the light, and layeth a charge over it in meeting. He showeth it to his friendly substance, and anger and perversity he is against. At this my heart trembles, and it moves from its place. Under the whole heavens he directs the sound of his voice, and its light is over the skirts of the earth. He thundereth with the voice of his excellency. He doth not hold them back when his voice is heard. God thundereth with his voice wonderfully, doing great things, and we know not. He says to the snow, be on the earth, to the rain fall, to the thunder roll. He commands these things. So great and high and glorious, beyond us is he. Doing all this, he commands the face of the earth, whether for a rod or for his land or for loving kindness. He brings these things for our correction. Sometimes he brings them because the earth that he has created needs them to come. The earthquake, the rain, the drought, the fire, the flood. And sometimes these things come because he loves us and knows best that which should be for us. Hear this, O Job. Stand and consider the wonders of Yahweh. Dost thou know when God doth place them and cause to shine the light of his clouds? Dost thou know the balancing of a cloud, the wonders of the perfect in knowledge? How thy garments are warmed in the quieting of the earth from the south. Thou hast made an expanse with him for the clouds, strong as a hard mirror. I did not need to know why. It was wrong of me to question Yahweh, because he is the creator. He is the one in whom all power dwells. He was here from the beginning. He has always been, he shall always be. And he brings the things of judgment upon the earth for correction or for his world, or because he loves us. And then Yahweh appeared in the whirlwind. Where were you, Job, when I made the earth? Where were you, Job, when I made the mountains? Can you draw the Leviathan? Do you know the ways of the ostrich, the lion, Do you know when the mountain goat will give birth? Because Yahweh does know. Wisely I chose to be silent. He spoke to me out of the whirlwind, of his power and of his greatness that I had questioned. And then he spoke to my friends and silenced them. He told me that I should make sacrifice for them. Because I had done no wrong. He healed me. The pain ceased. He blessed me with twice as much as I had had before. 1,000 donkeys, 14,000 camels, 1,000 pair of oxen, thousands upon thousands of sheep. Friends and family came, and they each gave me a gift of gold. We had 10 more children. 7 sons, 3 daughters. My daughters are beautiful. There are no daughters in the land as beautiful as mine. I have seen my sons and my sons' sons. Here is the truth of it. Yahweh's ways are not our ways. And what we must do is trust Him. We do not need to understand His ways, even though we seek to bring Him down to us. We seek to bring our judgment upon Him. When we should be silent. And say, though He slay me, yet will I trust Him. Peace be with you. Shalom. And with your house. Amen. And amen.